Hello, and thanks for joining today for this special no load time quick review with spoilers on Creed 3. That's right, we're going to be talking about spoilers, but in the beginning of this video, I'm going to just give a general impressions like I've done before with my other reviews. If you saw my Wakanda Forever and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, you'll know I give in the very beginning a brief review, just kind of overall feelings, and then I'll put up a spoiler warning up in the corner when you see that go up. That's when, if you have not seen the movie yet, stop the movie, this video. Make sure you go when you check out and see the movie, you come back, and then you jump back in. You can watch fully through. If you have seen the movie already, when that spoiler warning goes up, then you're good to stick around. And of course, continue watching. We really appreciate all this love and support. Alrighty, so without further ado, let's jump into just the initial reactions. Look, this movie had a lot of anticipation around it. I think that a lot of people were kind of wondering, where is this franchise going to go? The first movie was, really nice relaunch, bringing it back in. The connection to Rocky was cool. The second one, having the Drago, versus Creed, and kind of bring back that very personal fight for Creed, and the relation to his father, and all that was really cool. But then you go, where do you go for a third movie? And the originality of this is really cool because, like, the first movies were very not that this one isn't, but those movies are very Rocky storyline centric, where this one felt very um, Adonis Creed, not Adonis's father, but Adonis Creed himself, right? Like um, his main adventure, his main story that really he had to kind of wrestle with in his own way. And so when you see this movie, you'll see a very emotional telling, a very dramatic telling, and a movie that really built up to a really amazing conclusion that I think many audiences will enjoy. I, for one, enjoyed it. I think that this movie is definitely it's one of those you have to digest. It's very heavy. You get a lot of payoff when you get to the end of it. I'm not saying that starts slow. In fact, this movie is very short. It's under 2 hours technically. It's like an hour and 50 minutes, something along those lines. So, good movie. You want to just watch something that's not too long, but just have a really good time. And they really cut to the chase, and I think the buildup of it is just one of the best that they've done in all the movies, the Creed movies in particular. I think that you don't get. I've not been excited like this for an end, matchup like this for one of the Creed movies in a bit. So I really think it was. You're always enjoying. It's always a nice climax, but this one, I think they really give a great payoff just from the performances. Jonathan Majors, great job. Michael B. Jordan, great job. Michael B. Jordan directing this movie, right? Making that directorial debut for this film was really special. Story by Ryan Coogler. So you still have him from the first Creed movie, right? And of course, many know him for the Black Panther and the Wakanda Forever movies director. So, really good time. There's definitely still Rocky in this movie, and that's not a spoiler. That's just more so in the sense of there's statements, there's things that if you've watched the past ones, you'll see the connections, and that's always great, right? Because this movie is a testament to what came before, this franchise rather. And I look forward to seeing where potentially the future goes. This has been a really delightful trilogy, I think, and I think they really wrapped it up in a really special way for sure. All right, with that out of the way, let's jump into spoilers. I'm going to put that spoiler warning up in the corner. You see that up there right now. That means jump off of this video if you have not seen the movie yet. We're going to get into the really good stuff here. If you have seen the movie, stick with me. We're going to talk about it. And so yeah, let's go without further ado. You've been warned. Alrighty, so first thing off the top that I want to talk about here is, the timing, where we find Creed in this movie at this moment, right? And so at this time we find him as more of a family man, a retired guy. The start off of this movie, seeing how he's made it, right? He's won the big world champion, the belt for the heavyweight, and so it's like, where else can he go from here? He steps down. He's with his family, and you see that things are looking to be going well for him. And of course, that's when things change. And I've just appreciated the way that they showed how content. Some people, it's almost like about the things. And yes, like I just said, like, yeah, he's the champion. Like he stops, he's retiring on top. Um, but it didn't, to me, they didn't do it in a way of like him being like, oh, I have all this stuff, so now I can stop. It was like more so what was on the inside of him, the passion, the success, all these things. He just truly did want to have a simple life, and it wasn't about him. It was really about putting his family in a better situation, right for that next chapter. And it was really see how much he really cared, how much he's there with his wife, helping her career, helping how she stood behind him, and really helped him. With obviously, how he's getting back into boxing. So now he's helping Bianca, his wife, with her music career and help push her forward. And so he's spending time with his daughter, and he's, building a relationship that he, didn't have growing up, right, with his father in that sense. And so it really becomes very special in that regards, the way you're seeing this personal side of them. And I really liked that in the beginning of this film for sure. I do think that they could have done a little bit more with this. It's a little rushed, but you understand they're not wasting time. This montage that you see with this family is really important, and it sets forth when you get into these other heavier stuff. Where they're at. Then from here, we can start talking about where the past comes in, and this is where the connection to Jonathan Majors' character, which is Dave Anderson, that Adonis is taken back to its place they tried to bury. And it's very personal, because it's something that we know that he came from a really bad environment as a kid. And then I love that they brought back the same actor, right, to play him younger again. Obviously now he's more like a teenager at this time. But he's in a good house, and he's sneaking out to be with this guy who's a boxer, because at this point his guardian doesn't want him to be boxing anymore. And that's just one of those things that you'll see that there's a reason why he has this connection to this man, because of the unfortunate trauma that they both shared. And so as victims of what they went through, they really bonded and try to look after each other. But at the same extent, you also see somebody who didn't know how to move past what happened in that time in his life. He keeps a relationship with this man. It's not about him not having a relationship with him, but being in the house and sneaking out at night to be with this man definitely changes his life forever, because as we see, it leads to that moment where it just so happens someone who that unfortunately abused him, and and Dame, he actually sees in person, and unfortunately gets into that physical altercation where he beats him up, and that's where Dame pulls the gun to protect him from the guy's boys, and then the police come out, and that's when Creed runs, and because he's a kid, he's scared. And Dame ends up taking the fall, and that moment gets arrested. He already had a past record, and you kind of get the sense that that may not have been the thing. Based on the way I was interpreting it, when I watch it again, I can always fact check this further. But he did not actually get the 20 years for that one incident. It seemed like there was some other things that may have been going on at that time in the criminal justice system, just really threw the book at him for some other things as well. You kind of get that impression. But he's like all alone, because Creed leaves him, and he doesn't leave him because he wants to leave that past, that life behind him, but he doesn't know how to deal with that part of his life, and he never does until this moment now. So that's where I think it's just incredible, because that's where we start to see Michael B. Jordan really portray his character in a way that we haven't seen it before. We're just somebody who's like still sees himself as a kid, still sees himself in another place. And so when you see the movie, I'm not going to recap the whole story, but just when you see him try to give an opportunity to Dame to train, and Dame takes the opportunity, and instead is really just trying to make this more of a setup for him to actually instead fight Creed and to take from Creed what he has, because he feels like he's owed what the Creed has, what he was supposed to have, and that life would have been differently had things gone differently, and very well could have, because we see he was a very good boxer and he was younger. Dame was, but the real thing here is it's not the physical fight, but it's really the mental one, and I think it's important people see a portrayal like this where they understand, you have to be able to heal properly, because if not, the way it can affect people, the way it can affect the people that are around them is it's just a really intense thing, and that's where you see him and his wife, Bianca. They have these moments where it's like really really intense, because he doesn't want to share, and she doesn't know this part of his life of what he went through as a kid where he was a victim, and doesn't know how they ran away and the circumstance as a kid, and seeing him just broken mentally, because it was just such a traumatic thing he went through, was just another side of Creed that we had not seen. So it was really really great to see that unique portrayal. I think it was really really well done. But then yeah, I mean, you can't talk about this without talking about Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors did a great job, guys. I mean, of course, right? We've seen him already as Kang and Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Loki, and what a year this man's having. Great job. And I had to put this picture up for seeing this on the video, because this sequence of him just training, I mean, this guy is just, he's a superhero. I mean, he's just, it's unreal the stuff he's doing, and I just love to see an actor that's so dedicated to the roles that he's having and playing with such great range. This is not Kang. This is a different character he's playing here as Dame Anderson. I saw him in the movie Devotion, not long ago, and a different role there, and it's just amazing to see the range this man has. It's fantastic, and you really believe that he's this really person from the past with an ulterior motive, the way he portrays it. And of course, he's just acting, but my goodness, what a great role that he put on for this, and I just give him a lot of credit. But yeah, that training sequence, unreal, just incredible. Love that, and I don't know what more to say, but just a fantastic job overall. I loved also seeing the connection to the past movie with Drago showing up again in this movie. Drago unfortunately getting his hand injured because he was supposed to be fighting, the other fighter that Creed was training, and it's great to see Creed and Drago are actually on such good terms that they're actually training together. This definitely felt like the setup for the spinoff, right? Like they're gonna be making a Drago movie to my remembrance, and this feels like that scene was like showing a setup, because now you're connecting universes and seeing how him and Creed are on good terms and everything's well and fine, and he actually helps him get prepared for his fight with Dame Anderson. So I just thought that was a fun, really great surprise, and I really liked the way that they did it intentionally, the connection there. The last fight, this whole thing leads up to this big fight, and a lot of people talk about this fight because after you see it, you realize that it has a lot of creativity in the way it was done. Boxing's boxing. We've seen plenty of movies with boxing fights and different things, but this one actually is one where you see the two characters fight in a more artistic way. And when you see it, you know that the way that they close out the audience behind and backs against the wall, like literally, like there's these visuals that are shown, and the sound is really well edited between where it goes dead silent and it gets loud, and I just really really love the artisticness of this end fight. It was something we haven't seen done before in the franchise, and you have to suspend disbelief and just really look at it from what's trying to be portrayed, what's really happening, and that's why you understand it's more mental than it was really physical at that point, because the fight was just really using a lot of the hurt and emotions that they both had on the inside, and it was just an incredible moment. With that being the case, I also talk about where the future of the franchise is going. So Creed has a daughter, right? Creed and Bianca have a daughter, and I think that potentially, if they decide to continue on from at least a Creed storyline, maybe in a few years, maybe she will be a fighter. They definitely make it extremely clear she wants to fight. She's learned a lot from her father and wants to keep learning from him, and it's not a secret held at all in the film. I think the actress who played the daughter was actually a great job. I think she really did a really great performance and really respectful. And I just thought it was really nice. And yeah, I'm very curious to see what they'll do. Obviously, like I said, we know they'll do the Drago spinoff, but so that could, like how Creed is technically a spinoff of Rocky. Now there's a spinoff of the spinoff, right, with Drago. So we don't really know where the future is going to go. Are they even going to do a Creed 4? To me, it didn't feel like they really need to, but I mean, I really think they set it up for many possibilities, and I really enjoyed what they've done with it thus far. I think the one thing that I didn't really like when I think about this movie, just for one of the things that stood out to me right away was, his mother passing, right? I don't know. It was one of those scenes where it's pivotal for him to move forward, but it just almost felt like she says to him, "Find another way," and then the first thing he does is go back to fight him as a boxer, and I think that probably could have been done a little bit different, but her passing, the way and the portrayal, oh my goodness, it's so emotional. Many people, I'm sure, have cried watching that because of how it's done. From that standpoint, I narratively didn't think it was necessary. I would have liked to have seen her still around because I think the way she was trying to protect him from the past and the way it was done was just really good, and what she stood for represented. But at the same extent, on the flip side, the way at least it was done was not corny or anything like that. It was just done in a way that was very emotional. So that's on par with the film. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, I gotta say, I did enjoy this movie. I think people will enjoy it as well. How do I compare it in the ranks of the last Creed movies? That's tough to say. I think you're probably gonna put this up there, whether it's the same as number one or better than the first one. You're gonna put it up there for sure. I don't know yet. I'm still digesting it, but I can tell you, if I'm saying that it's already even in that kind of conversation, it's a good movie. So definitely looking forward to more films. We'll be talking about more different films here on the No Load Time podcast. So make sure you stay subscribed, stay tuned, and we'll see you on a future episode of No Load Time. Thanks. Bye.